And we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Horizen Weekly Insider number 107. Today is Monday, October 11th, 2021. Thanks for joining us live here on Discord and YouTube. And please be aware that we are being recorded right now, and this call would be available for you to check out later in our Horizen podcast. Also, please remember to ask your questions for us in the Menti link. We're going to be providing the link in the chat section. Let's kick it off with our first update from the engineering department. I'll welcome now Alberto.
Thank you, Angie. And so today we'll start with an update about our recent workshop in Ukraine. So in the last few weeks, we have been conducting a research on a consensus for sidechains use cases that need a super high transaction throughput. So there could be some specific sidechains that will require, let me say, very high transaction throughput, and so we needed to find an alternative consensus that will achieve that. So we had just completed the workshop in Ukraine with Roman and Dimitro, and that was specifically focused on formalizing the details about such consensus and let's say the needs in terms of circuit for generating the certificate proof and the seed sidechain withdrawal proof. Obviously, we will use a different approach than Latus, and we will provide more details in the next Weekly Insiders. But I can already anticipate that, let me say, with such consensus and with such different circuit, which we can achieve a transaction throughput of more than 1,000 transactions per second. So a pretty interesting amount of transactions. Okay, and so this was about the last research we did. Okay, now switching to Zendoo, we're finalizing the document with the technical specifications for our partners in order to have them upgrading their integrations with us. And in particular, we're preparing 3 different guides. One is for mining pools, another one is for exchanges, and one for the partners that leverage our Explorer for their integrations. We are currently performing the final review of such guides, and in particular, we are almost finished the one for the mining pools, so that this will be shared very soon. Okay, now let's switch to the ZK audit chain, where we have delivered all the code related to the current milestone. Internally, it was called milestone 2. And last week, we also started working on the secret implementation for the next and last milestone, called milestone 3. Lastly, for what regards the next delivery, on the SDK side, we are currently completing the design of the transaction and main chain block reference proofs witness generator during broad proposal. And this is something that, in the new SDK, where we will provide, let me say, the full proof for the history of the transaction happening in the sidechain, you have to generate the witnesses for to feed the proof generation for each transaction. And we have designed it in a way that is modular. So even by introducing new kind of transactions, you will be able to, let me say, just introduce your component and generate the witnesses. And so this was one of the first part, that is the witness generator for main chain block reference and transaction. Okay, moving on to the proving system, we completed the requested changes on the implementation of the endomorphism, changes after the code review. And these will be, these last changes are going to be reviewed in the next few days. Always regarding the proving system side, we're performing the design sessions necessary for the refactoring of the Marlin repository, which will start in the next few days. And finally, on the circuit side, we have resumed working on the main chain block reference circuit, so the implementation of it is currently ongoing. Believe that this is all. Back to you, Angie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alberto. And let's continue with Chronic for a quick infra update.
Yeah, hello everybody. So today we published Zeni 2024, which is just a deprecation update. And everybody, all of our partners, node operators, exchanges, mining pools should update to this version. And it will be short-lived. So the deprecation period has been set so that 2024 will deprecate on December 1st, and shortly thereafter, we will activate the Zendoo hard fork. So for everybody, that means that at the beginning or middle of November, you will have to update again. But I think everybody will be happy about this upgrade because it will close a chapter and open a new one for all of us with Zendoo finally going live on mainnet.
Thank you, Chronic. Next, we have Jonathan with the growth updates.
Good morning, everyone. It's a quick update from me. So we have published our ebook. Basically, we sent it to the publisher who's now reviewing it. So once they're done reviewing it, they'll be distributing it on places like Apple Books, Barnes & Nobles, Scribd, Amazon Direct Publishing. And at that point, we would definitely love to have the community's help to read it and hopefully give a good review. The way these books basically surface is whatever books have better reviews and more reviews get pushed to the top. So if you read the book and you like it, it would be a really big help to leave us a good review. So really excited about getting the first book out there. And hopefully by the time we talk next week, this publishing company will have finished reviewing it and pushed it out to the public. That's it for me. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Next, we have Dean with the BD and operations updates. Welcome, Dean.
Thanks, Angie. Hey, everybody. Just wanted to jump in and share some good news. I think maybe many of us have already seen it on Twitter, made a pretty big splash. So Horizen Labs has partnered with Bored Apes Yacht Club to help Bored Apes Yacht Club do a token offering. This is, first of all, it's an amazing partnership and an amazing project. Bored Apes Yacht Club, for those of you who don't know, is probably the most popular NFT project right now, or second behind CryptoPunks. It's really incredible. The other, I think about a month ago, they had a Sotheby's auction where 101 Bored Apes was sold for $20 million, $24 million. So really impressive. Lots of synergies in terms of the market just absolutely loves them. I'm excited about this project. Unfortunately, I can't go into details about what we're doing, how we're doing it. And at this time, the only information that we can share is what the Bored Apes are sharing themselves. So if you're interested in learning more, I suggest you check out their Twitter feed and see what they release. But at this point, kind of, unfortunately, our hands are tied, or our tongues are tied, and we're not able to share more. That's it for me. I'll let Vano continue with the usual updates.
Thanks, Dean. Hello, everyone. So Zen has been listed on Toko Crypto Exchange, which is a centralized exchange based in Jakarta, Indonesia, with a fiat on-ramp for their local currency, Indonesian rupiah. Toko Crypto is using Binance Cloud, which means that they share liquidity, security, and trading peers with Binance. And currently they have USDT and BUSD peers enabled for Zen. It is also worth noting that this exchange is a regulated exchange within Indonesia, and that means that it can only be used either by residents of Indonesia or foreigners with a temporary or permanent stay permit within that country. I'm happy that we now have an Indonesia-specific regulated exchange for our community members there, and that's all from me. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Dean and Vano. Now let's continue with Rosario for Product and Engineering.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be calling from the Milan office. I'll be here for some weeks working with our engineering and product teams, and I'll be here for the official launch of Zendoo on testnet. So really, really excited about that. We continue our, and also while I'm here, I'll continue working with Alberto's and others on our tech delivery planning for 2022. And that's really exciting. So on the product side, we are continuing pushing the first iteration of tools that support Zendu, and that's the first level compatibility, like the Zencash JS library, Explorers, Rosetta, and other partners integration. And so that's our first priority, is to making sure that we have that compatibility with Zendu. We are also kicked off a project, and that's the Zeni token project. And I'm not sure if John is on the line here, but John, if you are, feel free to jump in and just give a brief about Zeni.
Yeah, hey everyone. Hopefully you all can hear me. Really excited to have kicked off this project internally this week. Essentially, we're going to launch a token to the community that will hopefully be a fun token that we can trade and share amongst everyone. And we are planning to pair that with an iteration of a web wallet that we hope can kind of evolve into the wallet of the future for Horizen. That's pretty much a high-level overview. Feel free to reach out on Discord if you have any other questions.
Great, and thank you for that. So it's Zeni's going to be a really exciting project to showcase the ability of us launching a token on Zendu. And an exciting part about this, and hopefully not spilling too much information, spilling the beans too much, but we will be launching a Zeni token. And what we hope to do is to distribute those Zenis to our community that have been with us for a long time, and also, of course, the new community that we've collected along the way. So this project is for our community, and really excited about that. And so that is it. Also working with Dean on the project that he mentioned. We can't share a lot, so I'm afraid of even mentioning the name. But yeah, so this that was a little bit of a joke. But the Board 8 Jakob, and that's something that we are working on the Horizen Lab side. That's it for now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Rosario. Now let's welcome Rob for the leadership updates and the Q&A session.
Cool. Hi, everyone. I am happy to see
I
you.
lost
Are you using this? Yeah, it should be. Are you using this? What do you mean?
Are you using this one?
I mean, I should. Yeah. Can you please stop? Yeah. We lost Rob for a few seconds. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Yeah, no, I'm also really happy to be calling in here from the Milan office. And it's just really cool to see new faces every time I come back here. The team is growing, not fast enough. We need to keep pushing on that, but it's just really awesome seeing, really, really great new talent here. So some really cool news I'll start off with. We've hired our lead dev advocate, or she's at least accepted a job offer. And I'm not going to go into spilling more of those specific beans until she can actually join herself and introduce herself. But I can say a few things, that this is such an important role, because as we're getting this technology out there, we need to also get people to use it, obviously, right? And to get people to use it at the stage that we're in, we have a lot of work ahead of us in terms of documentation, tools, and just training, education for developers specifically. And this is going to be a big pivot for us as an organization, focusing resources into our developer community and really growing that. This candidate is a computer scientist with a PhD in education, which is kind of nuts in terms of that combined skill set is just rare and just very charismatic. And I think we'll do a fantastic job in building out our developer community. So anyway, I'm not going to go into more detail until we're a little bit closer to the start date, and then we'll talk more specifically about what the plan is in the dev advocacy group. Okay, so we are also getting ready to kick off a big white hat hacking exercise for Zendu this week. It's supposed to start. I'm not sure if we've mentioned the specific company that will be running that, but it's a very well-known company, and we're going to be putting quite a bit of resources and attention into trying to break Zendu. So hopefully we can, fingers crossed. I know Alberto's cringing a little bit here, but we're now that we're on public testnet, we want the community to participate. We want other partner organizations to participate, and we want to bring in the best of the best from the White Hat community to also participate in trying to battle test Zendu before we actually activate that mainnet hard fork. So more to come on that, but it'll be a fun exercise for the community or community developers. So while I'm in town, there's two big things that I talked to Alberto that I want to accomplish while I'm here in town. One, we're going to continue just hammering more deeply into tech strategy and thinking through the short-term stuff that we know we have to do anyway. And there's a lot of things on here that you guys hear from us every week that we talk about, like Zendu, getting that to mainnet, PGD, which is actually a new concept over the last couple of months, but the team's been pushing really hard to make that a reality. Also, what Alberto mentioned today, having a different type of consensus, working with PGD so that we can actually have very fast consensus. Because if we're going to have a semi-decentralized, not fully decentralized version with PGD, we might as well make it fast, right? So we might as well take advantage of the characteristics of the deployment that we're going to have, in which case, because it's not fully decentralized like Lattice will be, we can take advantage of higher transaction throughput. So that'll be interesting. And Alberto mentioned being able to do greater than 1,000 transactions per second per sidechain, right? So this is a really big deal for us as an ecosystem. For applications that would require faster throughput, we are now going to have a product offering for them. And then we're going to continue on Lattice, getting that to production. And this will be our fully decentralized option. And then what, though? Because then from here, we need to think through some other things as how are we going to open up the ecosystem? And you guys know we've been working on tech roadmap, and that tech roadmap really I would look at more as the more near-term stuff. And we've outlined some things that are sort of no-brainers from at least how we've seen other ecosystems expand significantly. We know we need to do things to get liquidity into our ecosystem. And there are some things out there like bridges to other ecosystems that I think are important, and we're going to investigate whether or not these would be good options for us as well and how we would make them happen. But from that perspective, it's about opening up our ecosystem for liquidity to come in from other ecosystems. And then what's that liquidity going to do once it's into our ecosystem? So here's where we're racing forward on Zeni chain so that we can actually do tokenization. Right? This is starting with a sidechain that issues a single token, the Zeni token, and I want to get my hands on some of that. And we're going to make this available to the community as well as a nice little holiday airdrop if we can pull it off in time. There's a lot of work that goes into that, but the team is pressing pretty hard on it. Then we know we need to have the ability to issue multiple tokens within our ecosystem. And then we need the ability for tokens to be able to shift between sidechains, because you can think of some sidechains like in our architecture, because we're not doing like a single, say, EVM blockchain, we have the possibility to do applications on their own specific sidechains. So I think it's really important for us to have the ability for tokens issued on one sidechain to be transferred to another sidechain. This is part of the tech roadmap that we've already specified. We still need to formalize it for you guys. But it's one of these kind of nearer term things that we know is really important for opening up our ecosystem. And then from there, what? Then from there, once you have an ecosystem with tokens, the ability to swap these tokens in a decentralized way is really important. And we need to think through how we're going to map some of these swapping functions that exist in other ecosystems into a way that makes sense for our technology. And whether or not we do this with automated market makers or with some other type of DAX, it's still TBD, but we know we need to implement the ability to swap tokens once they're issued in our ecosystem. Now, going beyond that, we really need to think through what other big ticket technical strategy things should we be looking at to seriously differentiate the Horizen ecosystem. Because I don't think it's necessarily a winning strategy to just mimic other things that have been built elsewhere. We really need to think through our core value prop and leveraging the technology that we've spent years to build that is best in class in the industry. Hands down, it's best in class, and we need to leverage this to the maximum or the fullest extent possible. Okay, so a lot more to come on that. The other big thing that I want to do while I'm here is we are significantly expanding the team, and in particular, beyond the hiring in Milan, which we need to continue accelerating, we are looking at building another center in Ukraine. It's still early days in planning, but working with the team here and thinking through the mechanics of how we would hire a substantial team in that country. So more to come on that, but it is exciting to think through that we're gonna have another technology center within the ecosystem. So once we do this, we're gonna have 3 big technology centers: in Milan, New York, and then Ukraine. I think is going to make us a powerhouse in terms of our engineering capabilities. Okay, so the big BD announcement that I alluded to last week, at least I alluded to 2 of them, and I couldn't talk about either of them last week. This week I can at least reiterate what Dean mentioned about the working with the Bored Apes Yacht Club. This is the first big announcement for us on the business side, and we could not be more excited. So Horizen Labs is the technology partner for the Bored Ape Yacht Club and this big project we're kicking off with them. We are going to defer to them entirely on how they want to do communications with their community, and then we're just going to piggyback on that with our community. So there's not much more detail to give on the specifics of the project yet, but I can tell you from my perspective why this is so important. Well, number one, the fact that they chose to work with Horizen Labs is a really big deal because they are hands down one of the most important NFT brands in the world. And they also happen to just be a really good group of guys to work with. And they chose us amongst a bunch of different options of partners that they could have gone with. The fact that they chose us is a really big signal that we just have a quality team. And there's a lot of synergy between our teams. And I think we're just going to rock it on this project together. The other big thing for us and why I'm so pumped to do it is this gives us hands-on experience or NFT experience. Everything from working with the token standards to doing an issue to working in thinking through our own NFT marketplace in the future. Right, so this kind of accelerates all of our own abilities in-house to be working with just one of the best brands in the industry on their particular project, and then getting lessons learned and building that out in our ecosystem is going to be a really important thing. So just could not be more excited to work with these guys, and there will be a lot more information forthcoming as the project unfolds. So that's all I've got this week, guys. We can stop here and open it up to Q&A.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you as well for everyone for contributing with your questions. So the first one is, what happens after Zendu goes to mainnet? What will be the team primary focus?
Want me to tackle that, or are we live?
Yeah. So,
cool.
So the question is, what happens after Zendu goes to mainnet?
Well, a lot happens. So, I mean, really, a lot and nothing all at the same time. So the reality is that the code's been built and it's deployed on our testnet right now. And once it goes to mainnet, the activation there, for the first time, pivots us from being a blockchain that supports a single cryptocurrency to one that actually supports programmable blockchains. It supports programmable blockchains, and we have a bunch of such blockchains in development right now, everything from ZK Audit working with Celsius, to some of the snarkified blockchain infrastructure that we had alluded to previously that supports ZK Audit, to then a whole bunch of other things that we intend to do, Zeni chain being one of them. But it opens up the possibility to now launch other blockchains that can actually host applications. And this is a really big deal for us because right now we just can't. On the current Horizen blockchain, it supports a cryptocurrency. And that's really it. And of course, there's app codes that we could try to force some applications to work on, but it's just not efficient and it doesn't scale. So really, Zendu going live on mainnet opens up our ecosystem for a lot more. And we just happen to simultaneously be delivering some very important applications alongside that. So anyway, a lot more to come as we go to mainnet. Alberto, do you want to add anything else on the technology side?
No, I think, you explained very well what will happen. And for sure, the team, it will be focused on the next steps because in reality, after mainnet, Zendu is going to mainnet live, we will have Latus, the prosecution of Latus implementation, and as we just mentioned, we are already working on a very fast consensus for the other version of the sidechain. But there are many other projects that, let me say, are going on, some in design phase, some other, let me say, a little bit more advanced. And so for sure, there will be much more things for the team, for the development team to work on. And we will keep you posted on that.
And Zendu is only the beginning, Alberto.
Absolutely.
Great. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. The second question is, now that you have entered NFT world, it is time for DeFi. What are your plans to enter the DeFi world?
Cool. Can I? Okay. Yeah. So let's see. So the DeFi world, we do have a roadmap, say like a path to DeFi identified internally. Some of the things that I already mentioned when I was talking about things like bridges, tokenization, token swaps, AMMs, are all really important components that right now we're thinking foundational stuff, things that we know we're going to need regardless. So that's what we've started thinking about. And this is actually already loaded into our tech roadmap for 2022. But I think the final point to mention, though, is I don't think we can do it all ourselves, right? Or at least ourselves, just because we're talking about building an ecosystem here. So for us, we're thinking more in lines of tools. And of course, we do have like Horizen Labs as an example, is just a key engineering group within the ecosystem that will be tackling some of the most important projects. But what's really important is that we provide the tools for other people to come in and build, and we bring partners in. And partners specifically that have experience in DeFi from other ecosystems. We've mentioned some of these partners earlier in some of the partnerships that we've put together. Like one of them was an Oracle partner. The other was an algorithmic stablecoin partner. Now, I can't remember specifically if we mentioned their names, so I'm not going to mention their names again here. Again, I don't want Dina on my case afterwards for spilling the beans. But we do have some important partners for as we go into DeFi. We know there are elements that we're going to need to bring infrastructure-wise into our ecosystem. And for these, we already have some really important partners. So we're going to continue doing that. And we're going to be focusing a lot of our BD efforts. Once the capabilities are there for us to do it, post Zendu, we'll focus some of our efforts specifically on bringing in DeFi partners.
And moreover, I mean, from a technological perspective, we can also add our, expertise on privacy. So we can add to the DeFi things also the privacy aspect that I think it's quite, let me say, useful and new to this kind of applications.
Exactly, and gives us a big competitive edge versus just replicating what other people have done.
Awesome. The third and final question was also already mentioned, but maybe it's worthwhile to give a bit more details. It says, will Zeni tokens be airdropped to the community? What are the requirements to join?
So the answer is yes, and I don't know if legally the word airdrop is the right word, but the reality is we are going to distribute tokens to our community, and we're just not sure yet on that. So we don't have the plan finalized yet and ready for release. So more forthcoming on it, and how we're going to do that will really be determined. Well, let's say I probably don't want to mention much more other than yes, we will build a plan and we will mention it to you guys as soon as it's ready.
Great. So that's a wrap. Thank you so much for answering the questions, and as well, thank you everybody for contributing with them. We'll see you all in our next Weekly Insider next Monday for